Welcome back to Bombastic Nation and Ting and Ting and Ting. I have no vibe for all you. Why I'm not just not thinking tonight, man. I'm just I don't know what the bumble clot is going on. I work today. Long day. Long day, I tell you. That's why I'm watching all this stuff and bringing back memories, trying to bring back those nice, fun memories of childhood and stuff like that. And it's another installment of T&T Folktale. This one is part 7, and this is the male counterpart of the Sukuya, the one that I put up earlier. But this one is the Lagaroo, man, and this one I'm more familiar with. I heard more about the Lagaroo than I did the Sukuya, for sure. I mean, my oldest brother, my older brother, used to point out all the Ligaroos and stuff you'd see, and you see that old dude and stuff, red eye. That's a Ligaroo. He gonna suck you tonight. Oh, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Scary thing, man. When especially when you live in a small island and all these people believe all this stuff. But you know what? Let's hear the actual story of it from what academics and stuff over the origins of the Ligaroo and stuff and what they do. Let's go ahead and YouTube and simmer. They spell it differently then.
There's one called the Lagaroo. The other Caribbean countries, French-speaking ones in particular, they call it Lagaroo. That is said to be a man who read bad books, black books.
The Lagaroo is, in folklore, in Trinidad folklore, it's a man who deals with the devil, and he is well known for pulling a chain.
They are very skillful at escaping. You might say they are shapeshifters, if you want. They can change their appearance.
Lagaroo is a man. He can appear as a horse, who appear as a donkey, who appear as a dog.
See, that's where it differs in my country. We never talk that shapeshifter thing. And the Sukuya turns into a ball of fire when in Grenada. From what I was told, the stories I was told, the Lagaroo is the one that turned into the ball of fire.
With a chain dragging.
What I noticed about the people they call Lagaroo, a few people, is that they have clear eyes. There's one that I quote-unquote knew. In the village where I was born and where I spent a few years. There was a tall guy, nearly 7 feet tall, and kind of slender, so he walked with the local walk of a Lagaroo. And one day they found him well beaten up by the road because they want to mark the Lagaroo. He cannot say he wasn't a Lagaroo afterwards because he'd get a scar somewhere.
But it's a very cruel thing because it involves scapegoating and it involves at times at least the concept of beating somebody to death.
The Lagaroo, or Loup-Garou, the wolfman, again is a combination of the European concept of the werewolf creature that interfaces with the African shaman. And out of this comes the stories of the shape changer.
I have heard people say, I've spoken to people who said they saw it already. In the country I'm talking about, where they had no street light. He was coming home late in the night and rain was falling. So he went to shelter by the shop. And while he was sheltering, a dog came next to him. And the dog, he just saw the dog began to grow. And as it was growing, he started to move back. And the dog was growing. And he started to run, and then the dog came back small.
There was a secret society that surrounded the idea of the shape changer into the pig. And it is my conviction that this is the beginning of the Lagaroo stories, the shape changer stories. This was described in a French way, and they called it the wolfman, the Loup-Garou. This tradition was brought to Trinidad among the Africans who came here with the French people out of Haiti. This shape changer tradition, that the stories that you hear when you collect folklore stories about how this man changed into a pig, or this big pig suddenly appears in a village and everybody suspects what it is and they go after it and they kill it and all this kind of stuff. in Lengua village one night. They hear chains, the chains of slavery, dragging through the street.
See how they correlated to slavery there? You know, I mean, do we really believe that on the Lagaroo? Maybe not, but then the Lagaroo is a sort of manifestation of the slave owner. It's kind of complicated. How do I explain it? It's kind of a manifestation of the slave owner and the slave, hence the chains, and he's dragging it. So the slaves, no, this is my own opinion, and I've read it in certain history books. The slaves are trying to explain their captivity. And if you have something like the Lagaroo keeping you captive, then you really don't have any power because this guy is doing some devilish stuff. You know what I'm saying?
When they look outside, they see a black man, naked as he born, greased down. He have a coffin on his head with 3 candles. And he walking through the village, dragging the chains that wrap around his waist. When they look up so in the sky, they see a tall, grey, wavering figure with his feet straddling the crossroad. As he passed the police station, the door slammed, bam! And he walked through the whole village. What do you think he have in the coffin? Bushram. Because you have to understand that the Obia man have to make a living. The Obia man is always a businessman. You see the tall creature that was straddling the crossroads? That evening at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, the Obia man went. He get a lot of green bush, leaves, piece of mango tree, things that would smoke plenty, and he light a fire. It's night, nobody has seen, everybody door closed and so, but a lot of smoke rising. He's the only man in the village who have something called a magic lantern. And what he did was that he projected onto that column of smoke the shape of a figure with his legs open wide and his arms outstretched. So for the people who dared to look outside, what they saw was a slide projected on a column of grey smoke that looked for all the world like a phantom.
There are books in occult and there are practitioners of occult. There are people who are not pundits or not sadhus and so on, but they do practice obia and witchcraft. I'm sure African obia men here are using some of the traits and skills of the Indian obia men and vice versa. It's a thriving industry, and they can tell you that they are very important people in society who go to them and seek their services.
Oh yeah.
People who read the Titalbe
and all kind of thing.
does a lot of practice too.
If you want a woman, you walk a obia. You do that. Yeah, okay, but back home when you say when you go to an obia ritual to do anything to anybody, you do them. That's what we used to say. You do them.
The Titalbe is a Hindu book, an Indian book. And the pundits and them, and you have certain people who could read the Titalbe, could make you get in a lot of problems. Because my fella told my father that you have certain time in the night, if you could read the Titalbe, you go to a river, 12 o'clock in the night, it must be 12 o'clock. You see the short twig like that? You must go and cut when they're now busting out. Cut out that part, and you go in the middle of the river. You have to go naked and stand up into the water. And you're asking that fig stalk, the head that will break out, make the bunch of fig, what you want and what you come for.
All right, he's saying fig. That's bananas.
And that will turn to a man's head, and you'll talk to it.
In the middle of the 19th century, towards the end of the 19th century, from the 1850s to the 1880s and so, in Europe, the Western magical tradition became very strong. There was a revival of medieval magic as a fashion. This is pentagrams and invocations and selling your soul to the devil and that sort of thing. The Obeah of that day began to get these books. So he began to understand the nature of the relationship between man and the devil in a Christian context. So here you got the syncretic again, the joining together of the traditional West African shaman and the European-oriented Faust looking to make a pact with the devil so that he would get power or riches. And it was said that a person who could do this was a well-versed in the Titalbe. The Titalbe is a study of books. So that is why he was called the science man. The Obeah man, the science man, the Lagaroo, the African shaman. What you're describing there is a progression over 200 years of arriving at a certain kind of command of magic.
Isn't that cool as hell how over time it sort of evolved into something? And it takes all these different cultures that are living on the island to mesh it into something. It's kind of cool.
A certain kind of the command over nature.
Yeah, man, the Lagaroo or the Lagaroo. But we used to just call it Lagaroo. I have another funny story about Lagaroo. I had a friend named Roach, right? And Roach and them were light-skinned people. And I remember Roach keep telling me, man, Lagaroo sucked my mother last night. I get up and she got them marks on her neck and her leg and thing, you know what I mean? And he's like, but we know who do it. There was this little old guy standing on this, he used to stand on this place called Market Hill. And when I was a kid, Market Hill was like this really steep hill. And it go down into the market square. And Vong is what we used to call him. Don't ask me why we call him Vong, but we called him Vong. He was always walking around with a stick, and the stick had colorful cloth on the top of it and stuff like that. And he always had red eyes, and we always thought he's a Lagaroo, he's a Lagaroo. So Roach swore to all get up that the man was a Lagaroo, and that's the man that sucked his mother. So he said, I'm gonna get him because on the island, we thought by just sewing a cross to Lagaroo that would, I don't know if it was supposed to kill him or make him less powerful or whatever. And so we live right next to the street, going up a street called Lucas Street, going up towards where Market Hill, the top of Market Hill is. And I remember walking by and with Roach, that's my buddy's nickname. That's Roach. I don't know why we call him Roach. It's because of marijuana, because we were really young at the time. I mean, we were like 10. So, but anyway, he said, there's Wong. He said, where? And there's Wong standing on the top of the hill. And I remember Roach walking up to Wong and doing this, using his hands to make a cross, so he could scare Wong. Of course, Wong is standing there with a big old evil-looking smile on his face because here's this little scrawny kid trying to scare a grown man, and I guess he was in his 50s. Wow, that was so long ago, dude. But anyway, and then Roach just went, yeah, and then take off running, you know what I mean? But then the next day, his mom had those marks again, and here's something funny about it. When I first came to this country, I went to a small Christian college, right? That's where I played basketball. Well, I sat the bench, and I didn't play much. But I only was there for 2 semesters. I would have probably played more, but I really wasn't interested in balling anyway. But anyway, and I remember seeing all these little girls walking around with red marks on their neck, you know what I mean? I was like, damn, the Lagaroo follow me. What's up with all these marks? And somebody had explained to me that they were hickeys. And that's when I go, oh, so that's what was on Roach mother's neck. No bumbo-clad Lagaroo. She had a boyfriend. levity on the situation there for you all. Man, I hope you guys having a good evening. I'm having a good time watching this stuff and cracking up about it. But back then, that was some scary stuff. That was some scary stuff, boy. But anyway, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification button so you know. I always stumble on that notification thing. Why do I always stumble on that? But you know what I mean. Hit the notification button so you get notified as to when I put out videos and thing. Alright? And also comment on it. Tell me what you think of this story here. You know, tell me what you think of this Lagaroo stuff. You know what I mean? And the meshing of, you know, the cultures and stuff like that. And also, you know, like the video, man. You know what I mean? Like the video up. You know, let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you think and all of that. And why are you doing all of that? Make life cool runnings, people. Make it cool runnings.